An airplane is an aircraft designed to fly in the Earth's atmosphere, using a power plant that provides thrust to the craft. The unit includes fixed parts such as wings and the fuselage itself. The main difference from an aerostat and an airship is the use of aerodynamics, not aerostatics, which creates lift during flight. The term airplane was first used in 1857 by Captain N.M. Sokovnin. He used this word for a controlled aerostat. Also in 1863, journalist A.V. Ewald used the word airplane in his article Aeronautics. The article contained the first proposal to create a similar flying machine called airplane. Who invented the airplane? The first historical references to flying machines were in ancient Indian literature. It described hypothetical flying machines, vimanas. In the folklore of almost all nations, there is a mention of flying machines, such as a flying carpet or a mortar in which Baba Yaga flew. The first tester who proposed a full-fledged concept of a flying machine with a separate engine and a fixed wing was the Englishman George Cayley. His works date back to the end of the 18th century. Cayley began to implement his developments in 1796, when he began to actively study the flight of birds. In 1799, a silver disc was made on which the flying machine he had invented was applied, and on the back of the disc a diagram of forces was applied that allows for flight. The device applied to the disc was very similar to a boat, but it still had the main parts of an airplane. Due to this, it can be said that J. Cayley can be considered a person who thought out all the main parts of airplanes. Since 1804, the researcher has been conducting a number of experiments related to aerodynamic properties. Due to this, he created a new rotary installation for surface research. With the help of this installation, it was possible to measure the lifting force of objects depending on the angles of attack. It should be noted that the data was quite accurate. As a result, after experiments, he created the first glider that could fly up to 27 meters, while the wing area was almost 1 square meter. By 1808, another glider with a large wing area and a curved profile was created. The unit was tested tethered and in free flight. Due to the data obtained, Cayley published the first articles in history about aviation. The articles discussed the possibility of creating a convertiplane with disc-shaped lifting surfaces and a polyplane. These discs are divided into 4 segments that rotate, due to which lifting force is created. Another creation of this designer was recorded in an article in Mechanics magazine. It talked about a controlled parachute equipped with horizontal planes. Who invented the airplane? Developments by William Henson. This invention can be attributed to the English designer William Henson, who in 1849 received a patent for the development of an aircraft design. Henson's flying machine was also called a steam air carriage. The wing of the unit had spars, ribs, and struts in its structure, all of which were further developed in aircraft construction. The wing skin was double-sided, since the ribs had different curvatures of the contours. To lighten the structure, longitudinal beams were used, which made it possible to make the wing hollow and lighter. The wing was attached to the upper part of the fuselage. An engine was installed in the body itself, which drove 2 pusher propellers. The fuselage also had space for passengers and crew. The tail unit was attached to the rear of the body. It had movable parts, namely rudders. As for the keel, it was fixed. The design of the device did not have ailerons, due to which a roll could occur, but the designer solved this problem by changing the speed of the propellers. This entire creation had a 3-axle chassis with a front wheel. The first aircraft in the world that was able to take off and fly. Developments of the Wright brothers. The first successful experience of designing an aircraft that was able to take off belongs to the Wright brothers. Wilbur and Orville Wright christened their brainchild as Flyer 1. The first flight of this aircraft took place on December 17, 1903. After taking off from the Earth, the machine stayed in the air for 59 seconds, during which it managed to fly 260 meters. The designers did not stop there. The modified model was able to perform a circular flight for the first time in 1904. A year later, in 1905, a long-range flight of 39 kilometers along a closed trajectory was performed.